All right, let's talk about something that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, but is actually happening right now: post-quantum cryptography. We're going to break down how the next generation of computers is posing a massive threat to, well, everything we do online, and what the world's smartest people are doing to fix it. Let's get into it. So let me just ask you this straight up. Think about all your online stuff: your bank account, your private messages, your company's most secret data. We all just kind of assume it's locked up tight, right? But what if? What if someone invented a skeleton key? One that could open pretty much every digital lock in the entire world. That's not a hypothetical anymore. That's the reality we are staring down. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the locks we use today. Then we'll meet the new villain in town, the quantum threat. After that, the good news. We'll see how we're forging new quantum-proof keys. We'll take a quick tour of the new types of crypto, look at the worldwide competition to pick the best ones, and finally, we'll wrap up with what all of this means for your digital future.
Okay, so before we can really understand the threat, we have to get a handle on the defenses we have right now. You know that little padlock you see in your browser? That's the shield. That's modern cryptography at work, and it's basically the invisible guardian of the internet.
The workhorse behind all of this is something called asymmetric key cryptography. The easiest way to think about it is like a personal mailbox. It has a mail slot, that's the public key. Anyone can drop a message in, but only you have the private key to actually open the box and read what's inside. The whole thing works because the lock is based on math problems that are just ridiculously hard for our current computers. We're talking problems that would take them literally millions of years to crack.
So for decades, those impossibly hard math problems have been the bedrock of our security. But the game is changing. There's a new kind of computer coming, and well, it doesn't play by the same rules. And listen, this is not some academic what-if scenario. Governments are pouring serious money into this. For 2024, the White House put aside $3.1 billion for CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. A big reason for that? To defend against exactly these kinds of next-gen threats. The race is absolutely on.
So what is this big threat? It's the quantum computer. And if our encryption today is like a super complex bank vault, a powerful quantum computer is the ultimate skeleton key. It's a machine that's built on the frankly bizarre rules of quantum mechanics, and it thinks about problems in a way that's totally alien to the computers we use every day.
And this quote right here gets to the heart of it. It's not just that quantum computers are fast, it's that they have a specific tool for this job. Back in 1994, a mathematician named Peter Shor came up with an algorithm that is custom-built to solve those impossibly hard math problems we rely on. So for a quantum computer running Shor's algorithm, our strongest digital vaults might as well be made of glass. This really puts it all into perspective. Look at this. On the left, a normal or classical computer trying to break our encryption. The time it would take just explodes into the millions of years. It's not going to happen. But a quantum computer on the right? It's playing a whole different sport. It doesn't climb the mountain, it just tunnels straight through it. A problem that would take millennia becomes a problem that could be solved in hours or days. Everything, every secure email, every bank transfer, it all becomes vulnerable.
Okay, so that's the scary part. A really, really scary part. But this story is not all doom and gloom. Because for years, the smartest cryptographers on the planet have been working on the solution: forging a completely new generation of digital locks. Locks built from the ground up to be quantum-proof.
And that solution is called post-quantum cryptography, or PQC. Now here's the really important part. These aren't algorithms that need a quantum computer to work. No. These are incredibly clever new algorithms that run on the computers we all have right now, but they're based on different kinds of hard math problems, problems that a quantum computer, even with Shor's algorithm, is no good at solving. We're fighting a quantum-level threat with good old-fashioned classical ingenuity.
So what do these new locks look like? Well, it's not just one new design. Researchers have come up with a few different families of PQC algorithms, and each one has its own unique, clever way of keeping our data safe from a quantum attack.
Let's do a super quick tour. First up, you have lattice-based crypto. This is the most popular one right now. Think of it like trying to find your way through an impossibly complex multi-dimensional maze. Then there's code-based, which is the oldest approach. It works by hiding your message inside what looks like random static or noise. Hash-based is built on one-way functions. It's like mixing two colors of paint, super easy to do, but practically impossible to undo. And finally, you have multivariate crypto, which is based on solving a whole bunch of really complicated equations all at the same time. Okay, so we have all these amazing new ideas for locks. But which ones do we actually trust? Which ones does the entire world adopt to secure the future of the internet? To figure that out, the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, that's NIST, kicked off a massive global competition to find the absolute best of the best.
And this was no weekend project. This was a years-long cryptographic Hunger Games. It started back in 2016 with 69 different candidates from teams all over the world. And for the next 6 years, the global security community just went to town on them, attacking them, poking them, stress testing them to find any weakness. The field got smaller and smaller until finally in 2022, they announced the first round of winners.
This chart is a cool snapshot of what the race looked like at the very beginning. You can see right away that the two big favorites were lattice-based and code-based algorithms. Together, they made up more than 2/3 of all the ideas submitted. It really shows you where the world's top researchers were placing their bets.
And here are the winners, the champions of the competition. For general encryption, which is basically how you securely exchange keys, NIST chose an algorithm called Crystal's Kyber. And then for digital signatures, which is what we use to prove who we are online, they picked 3. And if you look closely at the names, you'll see that 3 of the 4 winners came from that popular lattice-based family. The big bet paid off.
So, okay, a bunch of academics pick some new math with cool names. Why should you actually care? Because this shift, this upgrade, is probably one of the most important infrastructure projects in the entire history of the internet.
Seriously, this is about changing the locks on everything. Your bank, your private chats, your health records, government secrets, even things like Bitcoin and blockchain. All of it currently depends on encryption that we know is vulnerable to a future quantum attack. PQC is the foundational upgrade that we have to make to keep our digital world from falling apart.
So here's the bottom line. The machine that can break our world is no longer science fiction. The solutions, these new locks, are here. The standards have been chosen, and now the huge, messy, global project of upgrading everything has begun. The quantum clock is ticking, for real. The race is on to change every single digital lock before that skeleton key is perfected. And the question isn't if we need to be ready, it's how on earth we can get there fast enough.